Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we'll be talking about dealership service departments because things are getting really bad. Before we get into this video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Let's start things off by going over some data from Cox Automotive because the data makes things seem a lot better than they actually are in reality. So what Cox Automotive states in this data is that repair order volume has increased by 1.3% month over month at the same time that revenue has decreased by 1.3% month over month. So basically car dealerships are doing more repairs, but they're making less money on a per repair basis. So overall revenue is about the same. And again, on the surface, that makes things seem like they're not too bad in the service department world with dealerships, and let's dive into why that's not reality. So revenue is just one part of the picture for a car dealership service department. And the way that I'm going to illustrate this is by talking about dealership revenue over the course of the pandemic. So if you look at dealership revenue during any part of the pandemic, then you're gonna see a number that's very strong. But then if you actually go onto the ground and you go and see what's happening at the dealership, things were pretty chaotic at times because dealerships had no inventory. And so the staff is like scrambling to try to find inventory because they sold out of everything. And there was just all sorts of issues that dealerships are trying to overcome. And so again, if you just looked at things from a revenue perspective, you'd be like, oh, these dealers are fine. But then if you look at the rest of the business, things were definitely not fine. And that's kind of what we're seeing in service departments, but it's a lot worse in my personal opinion. So first off, right? Revenue, again, is strong, but what's not strong is the experience that customers currently have at dealership service departments. And the reason why customers are not having a good experience is because one, there's not enough staff in dealership service departments. Two, there are way more repair orders than there has been historically for dealership service departments to try to fulfill. And then three, we still have supply issues with dealership service departments. And so let's kind of go into all these. So when it comes to staffing, it's actually hard to just keep staff in any sort of position in the dealership service department in today's world is crazy. Service manager, that's a position that people historically would really want to take because you make tons of money. But because of how difficult it is to run a service department right now, a lot of service managers don't want anything to do with it. It's just too stressful for them. And then the next position that, is usually almost always filled at dealerships is the service advisor. This is the person that you go in and talk to as a customer. But service advisors are so backlogged and they have so many customers that are angry at them because of everything that's happening in service departments that, again, people do not want to do this position. And then if you go into the actual shop at dealers, what you'll find is there is just not enough of anyone. There's not enough mechanics. There's not enough lube techs. There is just not enough personnel. And this is actually something that has been an issue since prior to the pandemic because people don't seem to want to go for blue collar jobs anymore, right? They want to go to college and get some, again, white collar type job. And because of that, right, there's just not enough mechanics and staff back there to be had. And so that, partially explains the backlog, but you have that plus the fact that there's still issues with getting certain parts for cars, right? You have certain automakers that are basically prioritizing building new cars rather than building parts for existing cars. And again, if you look at the stats, people are keeping their cars now for longer because of what we've experienced in the market where prices are significantly higher than what they were prior to the pandemic. And if people keep their cars for longer, that in turn means that they're going to have to repair them more often, right? You're going to have more repairs are going to have to happen overall. And so hopefully you can see this all kind of coalesces into this big monstrosity of an issue. And the reason why this is such a big problem for dealerships overall is because not only are dealership service departments typically the most profitable part of a dealership, that is where the customer retention happens, right? Sales is very important for dealerships, right? You want the dealership to have a good sales experience for a customer, but where is the customer going to spend most of their time with the dealership, right? It's going to be in the service center. It's going to be with the oil changes. And, if something breaks in the car, it's going to be with fixing that stuff. And when a customer goes into a dealership and finds out they have to wait, a month, 2 months, 3 months just to get an oil change. I'm serious. Like, this is how bad it has gotten in the service department world. Or if they, have something break on their car, they have to just drop it off at the dealership and have it sit there. Like, I've had people tell me they've had their car sitting at a dealership for 6 to 12 plus months because it's been waiting for a part that's on back order, or the dealership simply just is so backlogged, they don't have anyone that is able to put the actual part into the car. Like, it is a massive issue. And so I want to close things off with a couple of a few things. So first off, if you happen to be a younger person and you're watching this video, do your own research, but I keep seeing all these articles popping up about, AI that is replacing jobs like lawyers and, all these, jobs that we thought were, very intellectual and robots would never replace us with. And this is happening at the same time that a lot of businesses that need people to do stuff that is more, labor intensive, right? They're struggling to find people. And so if you're a younger person, I would heavily consider, going to some sort of trade school or something like that. Again, when you have robots that are just basically replacing these jobs you have to get like a super big degree on, versus where you can go to a trade school and you can get a guaranteed job in today's market, I think that's definitely something to consider. And then, as for what this is going to do to the car market moving forward, I think it's too soon to tell, but this is something that dealerships are, talking about on a daily basis at this point, and they're just trying to figure out a solution. Some dealers have told me that they are literally going and they're just buying independent mechanic shops just so that they can basically do more repairs for their customers, do more oil changes, all that stuff. Or, some of them are renting these shops as well. So that's kind of one of the fixes. But at the end of the day, the dealers need to just find the people. And so unless more people decide that they want to be mechanics and service advisors, all that kind of stuff, we're probably going to continue to see this situation, unfold and worsen with time. And so, if you're someone that is about to go and service your car, go in with the expectation that, well, you might have to wait 2 to 3 months just to get an oil change. I'll see ya.